Yukta Tamamata. In 6.47, basically it's the last verse of the 6th chapter. In the 6th chapter, he spoke about yoga and dhyan and samadhi and so many things which are related to yoga. But at the end of this chapter, he concluded this chapter by saying, Yoginam api sarvesham. Among all the different kinds of yogis, who is the best yogi? Who is the best yogi? Ramdev Baba? No. He's telling the best yogi is one who Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. Right? One who worships me with the faith is the best yogi. Right? Is the best yogi. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. One who worships me is the best yogi. Same yukta tamamata. Yukta tama means he is the best. Shraddhavan. Bhajate means bhakti karna. Bhajate means bhajan karna. Bhajate means devotion karna. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamamata. So Krishna is saying, and of all the yogis, the one with a great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the best yogi. One who does bhakti, he is the best yogi, Krishna is telling. Now you may think, what is this bhakti? Right? And how to do that bhakti? How to please Krishna with that bhakti? So now we will see what is bhakti. Right? According to you, what do you mean by bhakti? Tell me in the chat box. According to you, what is the meaning of bhakti? Tell me in the chat box. Serving Krishna, okay. Anyone else? Bhakti means attachment, love, okay. I think means devotion and serving, okay. Serving Krishna with love, devotion and love to God and faith, okay. Who else? Which gives peace to mind, okay. Love and praying to God, super. Worshipping Lord Krishna, okay. Super. But today we will see that what is the real meaning of bhakti, right? So bhakti does not mean that going to Himalayas. Bhakti does not mean leaving your home. Bhakti does not mean to giving up your responsibilities, right? Now, what is the meaning, real meaning of bhakti? That now we will study. So bhakti means serving Krishna with our senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So this is Sanskrit term. Rishikena means with your own senses. Rishikesh means Krishna. Right? Rishikena Rishikesha means with your own senses. We have different senses, right? So we have nose, we have ears, we have hands. Basically, we have working senses and knowledge acquiring senses, right? We have eyes, we have ears, we have nose, we have tongue, right? We have skin, then we have hands and legs. So these are different senses. So when we engage our senses in the service of Krishna, we are doing bhakti. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. With our senses, serving Krishna's senses, right? With our own senses, serve Krishna's senses. That's the meaning of bhakti. So I will tell you one story, right? Once upon a time, there was a king whose name was Ambarish. Okay, tomorrow I will ask this story. There was a king whose name was Ambarish. And this Ambarish was Bhakta of Krishna. Now we understood. Bhakti means with our senses, serve Krishna's senses. Simple. That is the meaning of bhakti. Use your all senses in the service of Krishna. That's the bhakti. Right? Simple meaning of bhakti. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. With our senses, serve Krishna's senses. So he was a bhakta. So what he was doing? We will see what he was doing and what kind of bhakti he was doing. Let's see that. Now this is Sanskrit verse. Even if you don't understand, don't worry. Listen to me. Savai Manaha Krishna Padar Vindayo. Now we will understand what is a bhakti. Okay. So we will see how he did his bhakti. Savai Manaha. With his mind, Krishna Padar Vindayo. With his mind, he remembered Krishna. Savai Manah Krishna Padar Vindayo. With his mind, he remembered Krishna. Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunan Varnane. And with his tongue, he spoke about Krishna. That is bhakti. With his mind, think about Krishna. Use your mind in thinking about Krishna. Use your tongue in speaking about Krishna. Don't uselessly use your tongue. Right? There are many people who just like to speak anything and everything. They're just speaking. They're just speaking. But here it is said, you speak only about Krishna. And that is bhakti. Karau Harer Mandir Marjanadishu. With the hands, he was cleaning his temple. Right? How many of you have temple in your home? Practically everyone, right? Yeah, practically everyone has a temple. And tell me now, how many of you clean the temple? How many of you clean the temple? There are many people who will clean the temple only on Diwali. Right? But actually, temple should be cleaned every day. So here we see Ambarish Maharaj, he would clean the temple. Please remember, cleaning temple is doing bhakti. Right? Cleaning your own house is also bhakti because our home is a temple. Right? Karau Harer Mandir Marjanadishu. So he was cleaning his temple. And that is also bhakti. Shrutim Chakara Chud Satkatudaya. Shruti means ears. How did he use his ears in service of Krishna? He just heard about Krishna. Just like you are now hearing about Krishna from me, similarly, he was also hearing Krishna Katha from various devotees. And that's how he used his ears in the service of Krishna. Mukundalinga Layadarshanedrisho. Drisho. How did he use his eyes in the service of Krishna? He used to see the God. He used to see the deities. Deity means murti. Right? If you go to temple, you'll find murti of Radha Krishna. So when you are seeing the murti of Radha Krishna, that means you are doing bhakti. How many of you go to temples? Of course, we can understand now there is a corona and this thing, so they don't allow in temple. But how many of you every day take a darshan in your home? Just like you told me, you have a temple in your house. So how many of you go every day in the temple and take a darshan of Krishna? Okay, amazing, super. Rather, we have Rishik and Aditya, amazing, Anushree and Kian, super. Atharva, super. So that is bhakti. Seeing Lord every day with our eyes, that is bhakti. Right? Super. So that means that we need not to go and try something else. We are already doing bhakti. Okay. Tadbhutya Gatra Sparshi Anga Sangamam. Embracing or hugging the devotees of the God is also bhakti. Granam Chatat Pad Saroj Saurabhi. Smelling the flowers which are offered to God is also bhakti. Can you imagine? When you smell a flower which is offered to God is also bhakti. Now tell me, how many of you actually offer the flower to God? Write in the chat box if you are offering flowers every day to God. Okay, super. Superb, superb. So now just from tomorrow, what you do after offering, right? You can smell the flower, and that is also a bhakti. And you see, flowers are available everywhere. You can just take one flower and you can offer that to Krishna. Offering flower, smelling that flower, that is also bhakti. Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite. Tasting the tulsi leaves which are offered to Krishna, tasting that tulsi leaves, that is also bhakti. How many of you eat tulsi? Right? You know that Krishna loves tulsi a lot, right? And when you are offering that bhoga to Krishna, and on the top of that bhoga, we keep the tulsi. And it's said that when tulsi is kept on the bhoga, Krishna accept that prasad, right? Krishna accept that bhoga. So after offering that bhoga, eat that tulsi. And eating the tulsi is also a bhakti, right? Padav Hare Kshetra Padan Sarpane. How did he use his legs in the service of Krishna? He used to go to temples. Right? So when you are going to temple, that is also bhakti. Shiro Rishikesh Padabhivandane. He used his heads. He used his head in bowing down to Krishna. So whenever we bow down to Krishna, that is also bhakti. How many of you bow down every day to Krishna or to in front of your temple? Yeah, super. Everyone. So bowing down in front of Krishna is also bhakti. So bhakti is so simple. We have different senses. We have eyes, we have nose, we have ears. Use that in the service of Krishna. And that's bhakti. That's bhakti, simple. So you are doing that bhakti. One day, he was fasting. So he was fasting, and the time came when he was about to break his fast. Right? Because it is said, if you break that fast within that given time, you get the maximum benefits. You get maximum benefits. So he was about to break the fast, by eating something, some kind of grains. But what happened? There came a sadhu, a yogi, a very powerful yogi. His name was Durvasa Muni. What was his name? Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni came to king and he told, king, don't break the fast. First of all, I will break the fast because I'm very senior yogi. Yeah? First of all, I will break the fast and then you have to break the fast. Okay. Now I'll go to river. I'll take a bath there and I will come and we will both together. We will break the fast. Don't break the fast before me. King said, okay, you are a great personality. I must wait for you. You are like my guru. I will wait for you. The king was waiting. It was 2 hours passed, 3 hours passed. Time was passing. Now Ambarish was worried because that auspicious time to break the fast was passing. So what he did? He just drank some water. Right? He did not eat any grains, but he drank some water. And as soon as he drank the water, Durvasa came there and he was so angry. How could you break the fast without my permission? I am so senior, I am so great, I am powerful yogi. Without my permission, how could you break the fast? Now you will have to go through the consequences. So he was so angry, Durvasa Muni, and you can see in the left side picture that he created a very ferocious, very dangerous demon. And this demon was about to kill Ambarish. Now, this is the nature of a devotee, that they always try to seek the help from Krishna. So he just, started praying to Krishna. My dear Lord, please protect me. Right? I am your Bhakta. Please protect me. So he was just folding his palms, and suddenly from a Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu sent the Sudarshan Chakra. And the Sudarshan Chakra killed the demon on the spot. But Sudarshan Chakra did not stop there itself. It started following Durvasa Muni. Right? So Durvasa Muni was running and Chakra was following him. Right? He was putting his all strength in running. But you know that the Sudarshan Chakra is very powerful. It was approaching the sage, right? This Durvasa Muni. He was a yogi. Still he was running away from this chakra. So he went to Brahma Loka and he prayed to Brahmaji, Brahmaji, please protect me from this chakra. This chakra is very dangerous. Please protect me. Brahmaji said, I cannot do anything. This chakra belongs to Lord Vishnu. You can help. You can seek the help from Lord Vishnu. So he went to Shivji. Yeah, Shivji, I'm your brother. Please protect me from this chakra. This chakra is very dangerous. It will kill me. Shivji said, I cannot do anything, Baba. This is Vishnu's chakra. You should go to Vishnu. Then he came to Vishnu. Right? And Vishnu was sleeping on the bed. Right? Ananta Shesh. He was sleeping on the Ananta Shesh. So Lord Vishnu was sleeping there. He approached Lord Vishnu. He said, Lord Vishnu, please protect me from your chakra. What did Lord Vishnu say, Lord Vishnu said, Aham bhakta paradhino. I cannot control myself. My devotees control me. What did Lord Vishnu said? मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता. मेरे जो भक्त होते हैं ना, वो मुझे कंट्रोल करते हैं. I cannot control this chakra. My devotee Ambarish, he has the power to control the chakra. Krishna says, Aham bhakta paradhino. I am dependent on my devotees. Can you imagine this? Now God, he have all freedom to do anything and everything. But still he says, I love my devotees and they basically control me. So Ambarish is actually controlling me. I cannot do anything. It's just like, you remember that story when the Krishna is running away from the mother. Right? We call this Leela the Damodar Leela. How many of you know this Damodar Leela? Tell me in the chat box. When the Krishna broke the pot, and then mother was so angry, and mother started running after Krishna, and Krishna was terrified. Krishna was crying, no, mother, please don't beat me. Can you imagine this? No, Krishna is a god. Krishna is a god, and Krishna is running away from the mother. This simply shows us that how Krishna loves his devotees. Right? It simply shows what we can learn from the story of Damodar Leela, that Krishna loves his devotees like anything. So if you also become a devotee, Krishna is gonna protect you from all the circumstances. Right? Believe me. Just like Krishna protected Ambarish, Krishna will protect you from everything and anything. But first of all, become the Krishna's devotee. Right? So here, what happened? Durvasa came running to Ambarish Maharaj. He said, Ambarish, please protect me. Ambarish, please protect me. Ambarish, please protect me. Ambarish said, what happened? This chakra is following me. It will kill me. Ambarish said, Chakra, wait. Don't kill Durvasa. Forgive him. And Chakra returned back to Lord Vishnu. Right? Now you can see in this picture that how Durvasa Muni is touching the feet of Ambarish. Now tell me, who is the Ambarish? Ambarish is just a normal king in front of this Durvasa Muni, because this Durvasa Muni is such a powerful. Just imagine his power. Within a moment, he can go to Brahma Loka. Within a moment, he can go to Kailash Loka. Within a moment, he went to Kshirosagar to see Lord Vishnu. He is such a powerful yogi, right? But still, Krishna says, I love my devotees and you cannot harm my devotees. So could he harm a little bit to this Ambarish? No, he could not harm. In fact, the Durvasa's ego was crushed. Now, Durvas Muni, he is a powerful yogi. He is touching the feet of ordinary king. This king is not a yogi also, right? Because king is so busy, how will he get the time to perform yoga? But now what Krishna is telling here, yoginam api sarvesham, sab yogiyon mein, among all the yogis, who is the best yogi? One who does my bhakti. So you may perform different yogic postures. But if you are not worshipping Krishna, then Krishna says you are not a yogi. Shraddhavan bhajate yoma. Those who worship me with faith, they are the best yogis. So you also worship Krishna. And that's what I told you yesterday. Start worshipping Krishna by chanting, right? Because when we chant, we are engaging our tongue and we are engaging our mind in service of Krishna. And that's the bhakti. But none of you did that bhakti, right? And if you don't share the pics, I am not gonna share the link of tomorrow's class. Okay? I'm very strict. I want all assignments to be completed on time. No reasons are accepted. Right? Let's go. Now let's study the 7th chapter. Now here Krishna is telling this is an amazing chapter, and we are gonna see many stories here also. Let's study this chapter. See Bhagavan Vacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjamadashraya Samshayam Samagrama Yatha Nyatsachitat Sunu. My dear Arjuna, get attached to me. Right? And Maya Saktamana Partha, give your mind to me. Asamshayam Samagrama Yatha Nyatsachitat Sunu. With mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Krishna is telling here that today I'm gonna give you such a knowledge. After knowing this knowledge, there won't be anything which is to be understood by you. I will give you all knowledge today. This is the best of all knowledge, Krishna is telling. Here Krishna is telling Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kashyadati Siddhaye. There are many people who want to know me, but there are very few who can actually know me. Right? There are many people who are practicing different kinds of yogas to know Krishna, but very few actually know Krishna. This is important words to understand. Here Krishna is telling that everything is coming from me. Right? Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yammi bhinna prakrutir ashtadha. So Krishna is telling there are 5 things from which this world has been manifested. Right? Whatever you are seeing around you, these all things have come from the 5 basic things. We will call them as a Pancha Mahabhuta. Right? So in this picture, you can see there are 5 things, Pancha Mahabhut, from which the whole bhautik world, whole, the world which you can see is coming out. So what is that? First is earth. Okay? 5 elements we will study. Earth, water, right? Fire, air, and ether. So whatever you are seeing around you, it has come from these 5 elements. Earth, water, fire, air, and the ether. So earth means the soil, basically a soil. Water means the water you are drinking that. Fire and the air, we are breathing the air. And what do you mean by ether? Ether means space. Ether means emptiness. Right? So we'll study that how this whole world has been created by these 5 elements. We can see this mobile. This mobile is made up of many things. Especially, you can see this is some steel part. I think this is aluminum. I don't know. But this is some metal. And if you can see from this side, it is a glass. And within that mobile, there are many elements like many metals. Right? From where we are getting the metals? Tell me. From where we are getting the metals? Soil. So this mobile is coming from the soil. Simple. Now I am wearing this amazing kurta. Right? This kurta I have. Now tell me how this kurta is made. Can you tell me in the chat box how this kurta is made? Okay, khadi. But khadi is basically coming from the cotton, right? And from where the cotton is coming? Cotton is coming from the farm. And where is the farm? On the earth. Isn't it? Now you can see I have some furniture behind me. This is a furniture. Furniture is coming from a tree, right? And from where the tree is coming? Earth. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So everything you can see in front of you is been made up of 5 basic elements. So these elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Now let's study my body. Okay? So in my body also there are these 5 elements. Right? See, I'm breathing. So in my body there is a presence of air, isn't it? Then in which form there is water in my body? Is there any water in my body? Tell me. Is there any water in my body? Tell me in the chat box. Yes, I have blood. I have blood. Lots of water. It said, I think it said that there is 70% water in our body, right? I don't remember exactly. So blood is made up of water. So in my body, there is a presence of water. So now water is over, air is over. Now let's understand how there is earth. So basically the skin is made up of the soil, earth. And that's why you see when the man is died, it is either buried or it is either cremated. So when you bury the body, where the body is going, right? You see that in Christianity or in Islam, they bury the body after the death. So where the body is going after the death? So it is getting dissolved into the earth. We have got this body from the earth. Now that body is again going to earth. Isn't it? Now let's understand Agni, fire. Do we have fire in our bodies? How many of you feel that there is a fire in our body? Tell me if you can know this, if you can tell me this. Do we have fire in our body? Okay, superb. Yeah, we have fire in our body, and that's why you see sometimes, Mummy, temperature hai. Also, yeah, somebody is telling that in our body, in our stomach, there is a fire of digestion. And that's why when you go to some Ayurvedic Vaidya and you tell him there is problem in my stomach, the Ayurvedic Vaidya will say, अग्नि मांद्य हो गया है, आपके शरीर में अग्नि है ना वो थोड़ा ठंडा हो गया है. He will say like that. So the agni is required for the digestion. Agni is required for the sustenance, right? Do you know the basic difference between dead body and the living body? How can you check that that body is dead? You know what doctor does? First thing, he touches your head. Now, if the head is cold, understand this body is dead. And then he will check like this. सांस आ रही है क्या? Right? The सांस भी नहीं आ रही है और temperature ठंडा पड़ गया है. Right? You see, you observe the dead bodies are cold. Dead bodies are cold. So in the living body, we find these 5 elements. earth, our skin, and different kind of systems within your body has made from this earth. Then we have water in the form of blood. Then fire. In my stomach there is a fire. In fact, in my whole body there is fire. Right? You can touch yourself. It's little hot. Right? Then we have air. Right? We have air. And what do you mean by ether? Ether means space. Right? We have space. And that's why we say to our mother, "Mummy, पेट खाली है." Right? कुछ तो खाली है, इसलिए भूख लग रहा है ना. There is some space, and that's why we are hungry. So in our body, there are different spaces. Right? So when we close our mouth, there is space in between our mouth. There is space between our nose. There is space between our ears. So space is also required. So from these 5 elements, our body is made. But Krishna is telling, all the 5 elements are coming from me. So this body does not belong to us. So the point here I'm making is that this body does not belong to us. This body is given by Krishna. Because Krishna is telling these 5 elements are coming from me. Right? Now, if I tell you, this is remote. This is the AC remote, right? And this AC remote is made from the plastic. From where the plastic is coming? Right? They are making this from some chemical, and where these chemicals are coming from? The earth. So anything and everything you take, everything has a basis in these 5 elements. Right? Everything has the basis in the 5 elements. So Krishna is telling these 5 elements are coming from me, and all the other things are coming from these 5 elements. That means everything is coming from me. So here the point I'm making, that this body does not belong to us. This body belongs to Krishna, and that's why we have to use this body in the service of Krishna. Right? And that's why I told you, the simplest way to perform a bhakti is just to offer bhoga to Krishna and just chant his holy names. Sometimes 5 minutes, it just take 5 minutes, right? Let's go ahead. Now Krishna here is telling amazing thing, right? He's telling not only 5 elements, but he's telling mano buddhi evacha ahankara. Mana buddhi ahankar is also coming from me. Your mind, your intelligence, your ego is also coming from me. Right? Yesterday we discussed how we have a mind, and it has a flickering nature. Right? We cannot see the mind. Right? Similarly, there is intelligence. We cannot see the intelligence. Right? Whatever we see in the the brain, it's a brain basically. Intelligence is not that. Right? It's a brain. So we cannot see the intelligence. We can see the brain, but we cannot see the intelligence. And then there is the ego. Right? The ego means ahankar. That means a sense of proprietorship. Ye mera hai. This belongs to me. So I have this sense of proprietorship. I will call it as an ego. Right? Sometimes there could be a false ego, or sometimes there could be a true ego. False ego means to consider ourselves to be the best. I am the boss. That is false ego. The true ego means to consider I'm just a servant of Krishna. I'm just a servant of a God. I'm nothing. Right? That is true ego. So 3 elements: mana, buddhi, ahankar, mind, intelligence, and ego. This is our subtle body. Right? We have mind, we have intelligence, and we also have an ego, sense of proprietorship. Right? And we will call it as a subtle body. Why we will call it as a subtle body? Because we cannot see that body, and that's why we will call it as a subtle body. Somebody is telling me my voice is cracking. Can somebody clarify that? Can everyone hear me perfectly? Okay, I will tell what is subtle body. Don't worry. Okay, so Mega, you can check your internet connection. Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead. I will tell you what is subtle body. Let's go ahead. Okay, so this is my computer system. Okay. Now in computer, you know, there are two things. In the computer, in the broad category, there are two things. One is called as the hardware. Another is called as the, can somebody tell me what is the other thing? One is the hardware. Other is software, right? So hardware, what do you mean by hardware? The meaning of the hardware is the part of a computer which you can touch. For example, in front of me, there is a computer, there is a laptop. So I can touch the screen. See, I'm touching the screen. I'm touching the screen. I'm touching the screen. So whatever I can see in front of my eye, in front of my eyes, it's a hardware, isn't it? It's a hardware. Okay, I can touch the keyboard, I can touch the screen, I can touch the different elements of this computer, and that's the hardware. Okay, but what is software? Can you see the software? Software means a programs, a different programs which we install in the computer. Can we see the software? No, we cannot see the software, but we can experience the software. Can we touch the Zoom? Can we experience the Zoom? Now, Zoom is also one of the software. Can we experience the Zoom? Hey, Zoom is so heavy. I can touch this hardware. I can say, oh, this computer is heavy, right? This laptop is heavy, and I can touch on this, and I can experience its temperature. Oh, it's so hot. From 2 hours, it's been charging. It's so hot, right? So this is a hardware, right? What is software? You cannot touch the software. You can experience the software, right? We cannot touch the Zoom. You cannot experience the Zoom. Hey, Zoom is so heavy. Zoom is so cold. Zoom is so hot. No, you cannot touch the Zoom, right? You cannot touch the media players. You cannot touch the game. Game is also a software. But that does not mean if you can't see some software, that is not existing. So similarly, the subtle body means the bodily parts which we cannot see. The three bodies are there. Three parts are there, three elements are there. Mana, Buddhi, Ahankar. So just like we have a hardware in our computer, similarly, this body is a hardware. The body which you can see in front of yourself, like you are seeing my nose, you are seeing my eyes, you can see my ears. So this is my hardware, right? This is my hardware. But can you see my mind? Can you see my mind? Can you see my intelligence? Can you check how intelligent I am? No, you cannot check that. So that is my software, right? That is my subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. Your subtle body is made up of three elements: mind, intelligence, and ego. Why we call it as a subtle body? Because we cannot see that. Only thing is that we can experience that. Can you see your mind? You cannot see your mind, but you can experience your mind, right? Just close your eyes and you can experience that your mind has started flying to the kitchen. You can experience that your mind has started flying to the Eiffel Tower, isn't it? So you can experience that. Can you check your intelligence? Can you experience? You can experience your intelligence, but you cannot see your intelligence, right? You cannot see your intelligence. Similarly with the ego, the sense of proprietorship, you cannot see. You are saying that this is my phone, mine. So this mine is, you cannot actually see that, but you can experience that. The sense of belonging, you can experience that, but sense of belonging, you cannot see that. I hope you are understanding what I'm telling you, right? So subtle body means the body which you cannot see. Simple. Subtle body is software. So what we are actually doing, we are just taking care of the gross body. We are just taking care of the hardware. We are cleaning this laptop every day. So we are taking care of the hardware. Similarly, we are just taking care of this body. But what about the internal body? Internal body is made up of three things, right? Mind, intelligence, and ego. Who will clean that body? Who will take care of that body? That is also our responsibility. So I hope you understood these two things, gross body and subtle body. Okay, one more thing. If I have computer, and if I have all the softwares, will my computer work? Will my system work? Or do I need something else? What I need? If I want to run this computer, what I need? Software and hardware is there. No, I already have software and hardware. What else I want? What else I want? Okay, Atharva, super. Aditya is telling antivirus, but antivirus is also software, na? The antivirus is also software. CPU is hardware. Now I have already discussed there is hardware, there is software, but your computer will not work if you have both things. Yeah, Rishik, amazing. You need a power. You need a electricity. Without electricity, will my computer work? No. Now here, the thing I'm trying to tell you, that if you have this gross body, if you have this subtle body, but if you don't have the soul, the body will not work. So electricity, the soul is compared to the electricity. So electricity is the must, right? Electricity is must. You must have experienced that you are working something very important on your computer, and there is a power short, there is a power cut, and whole system is switched off, right? Whole system is shut down. Why? Because power went away. Similar things happen with us also. We have everything perfect in our body, but soul leaves the body and whole body collapses. Right? The most important thing here is the electricity. Can you see the electricity? You cannot see the electricity, but we can experience the electricity, right? If you want to experience the electricity, what you do? Just open your socket and put your finger. Don't do that, huh? I'm just telling, and you will experience the electricity, right? You can experience the electricity. Similarly, there is a way to see our soul also, but now this is not a perfect stage to see the soul, and that's why we are unable to see our soul, neither the super soul. Right? Let's go ahead. So I hope you are understanding these two things: subtle body, gross body, and then there is a soul. Right? You must have seen three-piece suit. Right? So they first of all, I think I have this pic. No, I don't have it. So in the marriage, when we go, we have seen many people in the suits. Like they wear a three-piece suit. Right? Inside they have a shirt and they have some jacket kind of thing, and then they have that, what do you say, a coat, right? So first of all, shirt, then jacket, and then coat. So similarly, the soul also gets covered with two bodies. One is a subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, and over that we have this gross body. And our responsibility is to take care of all the three bodies: our soul, our mind, intelligence, and ego, and our gross body. Right? But now what we are doing, we are just taking care of our gross body. Right? We are not taking care of the software. Just imagine I have a computer, right? And every day I'm cleaning my computer nicely, but I'm not updating my softwares, right? I'm not putting a good malware, right? Or I'm not putting a good software which will help me. Will my computer work? No. Similarly, we must have to take care of our own software, that is mind, intelligence, and ego, right? So basically, japa or mantra is helping you, right, to update your system. Let's go ahead. Here, Krishna is telling there is not beyond me. There is nothing beyond me. Everything is resting on me, just like money. Pearls are strung on a thread. Sutre mani gana iva. You can see these are the pearls, right? And there is a thread passing through these pearls, and this thread is holding all kinds of pearls. Just imagine I remove the thread. What will happen? These pearls will come down, isn't it? These pearls will not stay together. But many times it happens that, when we see mala, you have seen flower garland, and many times you cannot see a thread passing through that flower garland, but you understand without thread, flower garland will not remain as it is. All flowers will come down. Right? Now, for example, I have one mala in my neck. Right? This mala I have, and you will not able to see the thread which is passing through it. But you can understand if the mala is there, that means thread is there, right? So what Krishna is telling here, that although you cannot see me, please understand I am everywhere. Just like without a thread, a pulse cannot stay as it is. Similarly, without me, this world will not run at all. You cannot see the thread, but that does not mean thread is not there. But that does not mean thread is not there. Thread is there. With our common sense, we can understand that if the thread is not there, all the pulse will, come down, right? They will fall. So we understand there is thread. Similarly, Krishna is telling, without me, nothing will exist. Many times we cannot see the thread. Right? Similarly, many times we cannot see the Krishna, but that does not mean Krishna is not there. So Krishna is always there, because Krishna is saying, without me, nothing can happen. Let's go ahead. I will tell you one story that will give you clarity to understand this. Right? Amazing story. So once upon a time, this war was going on, Mahabharat war, and Kauravas were losing the match. Kauravas were losing this battle. There was one amazing king. His name was Barbarik. Barbarik was actually a Pandava, right? He was fighting from the Pandava's side. But simultaneously, he had taken a vow that whoever is losing, I will assist that party. Okay. So now Barbarik saw that Kauravas are losing the match. So what he did, he started going to their party. Right? Because his vow was there, na? And in the previous times, we must have understood till now that, previously people were like, ek baar bola na, muh se nikala na ek baar, then they would follow that thing. They would not bother about the cost of that. They would follow that thing. Just like we saw the Bhishma. Bhishma said, whatever happens, I will not marry. Whatever happens, I will not sit on the throne. Right? Similarly, he also took a vow that whatever happens, I will help the losing party. So he was about to join the Kauravas, and Krishna was worried. Krishna said, if this guy joins the Kauravas party, then he will kill so many of our members, right? Our troops. So what Krishna did, Krishna transformed himself. Krishna took the form of one Brahmana, right? A Pandita, right? And he went in front of this Barbarik, and he told Barbarik, what are you doing? He said, my dear Brahman Devata, I am going to help the Kauravas. But the Krishna who is in the form of the Brahmana, he said, but Barbarik, these Kauravas are bad people, they are not good. Barbarik said, I know that. And the Brahmana said, why are you helping them? Why do you want to help them? He said, basically, I have taken a vow, and that's why I need to help them. Brahmana said, okay, okay, no problem. You have taken a vow. That means you will not able to break the vow. So do one thing before going, give me some kind of dakshina, give me some donation. So Barbaric said, ask me anything. I can give you anything. I am so powerful king. And then the Brahmana said, I want your head. Barbaric said, what? Now I understood you are not an ordinary Brahmana, because Brahmana will never ask for the head. You must be someone else. Then Krishna again came to his original form. Krishna said, Barbaric, whatever you are doing wrong. Please don't do that. And I know that you cannot, break your vow. That's why I'm asking you to kill yourself. I want your head. So Barbaric said, wow, amazing. I want to help you, Krishna. And whatever you say me, I will do that. You want my head? Take my head. So he killed himself, right? And before killing, he told to Krishna that, Krishna, please bless me. Even I kill myself, I'm giving my head. But please give me blessings that I will see all the war. Right? Even I'm a dead, I want to see everything. Krishna said, no problem. This is my blessings. You will remain alive even you are killing yourself. So he died, and Krishna hanged his head on some hill. So he kept his head on that hill. Basically, he wanted to see whole war, right? So Krishna came back and they started again fighting. And on the 18th day, Pandavas won the battle. And what Pandava did, Pandavas fighting. Pandavas started fighting with themselves. Now Arjuna was telling, because of me, we won the war. Bhima said, my dear Arjuna, wait. Because I was there, that's why we all won the war. Yudhishthira said, no, no, no. Because I was there, that's why we won the war. Now Nakul and Sahadev, the twin brothers, came and they said, no, no, Pandavas. I mean, no, no, my dear brothers. Actually, whole war was won because of us. So everyone was trying to say how he is so important. Everyone was trying to say that how the whole war was won by Pandavas because of themselves. Now, the other kings also came. They started saying, actually, Pandavas, you people did not have anything. We provided you everything, and that's why you won the war. That means because of us, you won the war. You are not so important. We are the important. Then other kings also started saying, hey, because of us, these Pandavas have won the war. And everybody started fighting among themselves. Everyone was trying to say, I am important, I am important, I am important, I am important, I am important. Right? I made the victory. Everyone was trying to say that. Now Krishna came there. Krishna said, wait. Don't fight. Let's go to barbaric. Because barbaric is like an umpire. He has seen whole the war. Let's ask him. Because of whom Pandavas won the battle. Let's go to barbaric. So they all went to barbaric. So barbaric was watching every one of them. Right? Barbaric had witnessed all the war. Right? So everyone asked Barbaric, tell me, Barbaric, tell us, because of whom Pandavas won the war? Right? So Arjuna started saying, Barbaric, I know you will say, because of Arjun, because of me, we won the war. Bhima said, no, Barbaric, I know, because of me and the Bhima and the most powerful, because of me, Pandavas won the war. Barbaric started laughing. Barbaric said, my dear kings, my dear Pandavas, आप किसी की भी वजह से ये वॉर को जीता नहीं गया है, राइट? No one had the contribution in terms of winning the war. None of you are so important. Then all started saying, then who is so important? Because of whom the Pandavas won the match? Then Barbaric said, It is only because of Krishna the Pandavas won the war. And according to me, I was just witnessing the Sudarshan Chakra all over the battlefield. And I could see that only Krishna was killing the enemies and none of you did anything. So here, I'm trying to make a point that without Krishna, we are zero. We may think, I have a capacity, I have a power, I have an intelligence. But who gave you intelligence? Krishna. A whole war was won by Pandavas due to the blessings of Krishna. Let's go ahead. Now let's see how Krishna is everywhere and how Krishna is actually helping us. Krishna is telling, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashisuryayo pranavah sarvavedishu shabda ke paurusham rushu. Right? Can you give me 1 minute? Just 1 minute. There is a technical problem. Just 1 minute. I'm just coming. Okay, extremely sorry for that. That's some important thing. Okay, so Krishna is telling, I am the test of water, and from me comes the light of sun and the moon. Pranavaha sarva vedeshu, I am the Om in all the Vedas. Shabda Khe, I am the voice in the ether. Right? Paurusham Rishu, and the capacity and the ability in the man. Punyo gandha prithivyaamsha. Right? Punyo gandha prithivyaamsha. And the smell and the fragrance of the earth. Right? Then there is the first rain. Right? Have you experienced this amazing smell? When the rains come for the first time in the year, you can experience that smell. Amazing smell come from the earth. And Krishna says, and that smell. Tejas Shami Vibhavaso, I am the heat in the fire. Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu, Tapasyami Tapasvishu. I am the life of all that lives. So you are living. That means you have the life. And from where the life is coming? From me. Tapasyami, tapasvishu, and the penance of all the aesthetics. Bijama sarva bhutanam. I am a seed of all the living entities. Everything is coming from me. So basically, in this series of verses, Krishna is trying to tell that everything is coming from me. Buddhi buddhi matamasmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Now you are saying, I am very intelligent person. I remember everything, but Krishna is saying, I am giving you that intelligent. Don't be so proud. Tejas, tejas vinamaham. I am the prowess of the powerful man. You are telling that you are so powerful, but from where your power is coming? From Krishna. Balam balavata chaham. You are telling I am so powerful. I have so much strength. But from where the strength is coming, Krishna is telling, don't be arrogant. Your strength is coming from me. Okay, so this is very good. Okay. So Krishna here is telling 4 kind of people that they don't come to me. Who are they? Those who are foolish. Those who are foolish, they will not do bhakti. However you tell them, do some chanting, do offer some bhoga, they will not do because they are foolish. right? So Krishna is telling 4 kind of people, they will never do bhakti. So first one is foolish, grossly foolish. However, you tell this person, this man, this boy, this girl, do some bhakti, do some chanting, they will never do. They will never do because they are foolish. Prapadyante naradhama. They are lowest among mankind's Maya aparuta jnana. Their mind, their knowledge is stolen by the illusion. And those who are atheists. So these 4 kind of people, they will never do bhakti. Who? Atheist, foolish, lowest among the mankind, and whose knowledge has been stolen. 4 kind of people, they will worship Krishna. Now you have to understand, you will worship Krishna. Are you foolish? Are you atheist? Or you come in some other category? What is this other category? Chaturvidha bhajanti ma. 4 types of people, they worship me. Who are they? Arto, distress. Distress means you are really in some problem. You are asking Krishna, Krishna, please help. Krishna, please help. I don't have money. Arto, Jigyasu, those who are inquisitive. Now you all people come into this inquisitive category. You want to know Krishna. You want to know Bhagavad Gita. So you come in under this category, inquisitive. Artharthi, those who want money, they go to Krishna. Jnani, those who have knowledge about Krishna, they go to Krishna. So 4 people don't surrender to Krishna. 4 kinds of people, they surrender to Krishna. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavamam prapadyante. After many years, one get this human form, right? But still there are many people who don't surrender to Krishna. Kamaiste rutu jnana prapadyanti anyadevata. Those whose knowledge has been stolen by illusion, they will go to other gods and then they will pray for various things. Right? Prapadyanti anyadevata. They will go to other demigods, other gods. Now, how many gods are there? How many God is there? We will study. There is one God or many God, that we will study tomorrow, right? Now, next verse. 1 minute. Okay, so just like in the company, there are different departments. Similarly, in the whole universe, also there are different departments. Right? So we have the heat and fire department. We have rain department, right? So similarly, there are different departments, right? There is air department, cleaning department. Just like in our city, we have different department, right? The road department, then we have the construction department. Similarly, in the universe also there are different departments, and for all the departments, there are different departments heads, and we will call them as the demigods, right? Various devatas. So according to our shastras, there are many demigods. So some people say that there are 33 crores demigods. Some people say there are 33 millions of demigods. Some people say there are 33 koti demigods, whatever it is. But there are many demigods. But God is always one, right? God is always one. But demigods are many. Just like in any company, there is one boss. There is one boss. But workers are many. Departments are many. But boss is always one. Similarly, Krishna or Lord Vishnu is the only one person from whom everything is coming, right? And then we have different demigods who are taking the responsibility of different departments of this material creation, right? Just like we have only one PM, Modi ji, right? But we have different MPs, right? Or you can say a different departments who are actually taking care of this, India, right? Our government. But the Pradhan Mantri is always one, PM is always one, Prime Minister is always one. Similarly, Krishna is the only one God, and others are demigods, those who are taking the responsibility of the universal affairs. like rains, and then he hitting, and then there is one god for moon. There is moon god also, right? And there is a Pavana Devata also. Pavana Devata is responsible for the flowing of the air, like that. So there are many things, right, that we will cover tomorrow. I think 2-3 verses are pending that we will cover tomorrow. Okay, so I hope you understood today's talk. Can you please repeat 4 types of people who worship Krishna? Yeah, I can repeat. So here we have 4 types of people. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. So four are artha, artharthi, jigyasu, jnani. Artha means one who are very distressed. Distress means abhi paisa nahi hai, काफी परेशानी है. We will call them as a distress, right? Those who are in tension, right? And they go to Krishna. So that is first. Artha. Artharthi, those who want money, right? Many people approach Krishna for some money, monetary benefit. Jigyasu, those who are inquisitive, right? जिनको जानना है कृष्ण कौन है, कृष्ण कौन है, कृष्ण कौन है, गीता क्या है, गीता क्या है. Like you all are there, you are very inquisitive people, and that's why you are asking me so many questions and you are attending classes every day. That means you are inquisitive, you want to know, right? And then there is fourth person, artha arthati jigyasu. Jnani is the person. Here it is written, Jnani is the person who has the knowledge, of all the scriptures, and he has understood that Krishna is the supreme God. You have to worship, and then he worships Krishna. So these 4 kind of people worship Krishna, and 4 kind of people who don't worship Krishna, they are foolish. And then there are lowest among mankind, Naradhama. They are doing all kinds of sins. They will never approach Krishna, and that's why you see there are many people who are sinful. They will never go to temple. Mayaya aparita jnana, those whose knowledge or whose mind is been stolen by illusion, right? And the fourth is those who are atheists. These people will never understand Krishna, or they will never go to Krishna. Okay, so we will stop here, and you have to share the learnings. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If you have any question, you can ask me personally too on my WhatsApp. Right, I'll be happy to give you all the answers to all your questions. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay.